All right, so this is being live streamed. Before I get started in there, anybody watching on live stream, there's a hashtag I want you to use. It's called LoanDBA. If you have a question out there and we have time at the end that's for questions, you can always put the question out on Twitter using the hashtag LoanDBA, and we will try to get to those sessions. At any point in time, if you watch this later as a recorded version and you have questions following up, I'll always be watching the LoanDBA hashtag, and I can follow up with your questions there. Okay? You guys ready to get started? I hit my timer. Thank you very much, Chris. We good? All right. So you guys are here, obviously, because most of you guys are loan DBAs. This is called I'm It, Survival Tips for the Loan DBA. I am Monica Rathbun. I am now a consultant for Denny Cherry and Associates. We're going to talk a lot about my history because I want you guys to understand I've been there. I've done that. I've been in your shoes. I have been you. So we will talk about that. I'm also SQL Espresso. I'm SQL Espresso everywhere. Twitter, LinkedIn, my website, everything is about SQL Espresso. It is my personal brand, and we're going to talk about why that's important as well. Okay? Again, I'm going to poll the room one more time. How many loan DBAs do we have in here? That's over half the room. How many of you guys are on a team? About a quarter of the room. This is applicable to everybody because we all have a lot of work we have to do, and we have to manage it, and we have to not feel like we're bombarded, overloaded, and become the grumpy DBAs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Please silence your cell phones. This is being live streamed. We will answer that phone and make this really comical, really, really fast if we get that phone call as it goes. I do understand we are working on live production systems, and we do have to stop sometimes and go take that phone call. Feel free to walk out at any point in time if you have to do so. I'm going to get more into this slide. I know you guys have seen it a few times as you're going through sessions. This is all the free stuff PASS has to offer. We're going to talk about why these things are important for you, especially as that loan DBA. So take note of it. Take advantage of some of the things that are being offered. Again, Monica Rathbun, again, SQL Espresso is where you're going to find me. I am a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. I actually got my MCSC in SQL Server 2016. Recently, I got that. Virginia Beach, Virginia is where you're going to find me. I run my local user group. I've got one over here. I run my local user group there. I actually run the SQL Saturday there. And I'm in charge of I'm the mentor for all of the local chapters in the Mid-Atlantic region. So I help them with theirs as well. I'm pretty busy. So my presentation rules, this is really important. It's not about me, it's about you. This is a conversation. We learn from each other, right? So at any point in time, raise your hand, make a comment. That didn't work for me. How did you make that happen? No way, that can't be true. Go ahead, speak up. Let's have a conversation, because you might have something to add that is of value to everybody in this room, okay? I have no problems with you doing that. I don't know if there's a mic to pass around, but we'll do our best. It's kind of a big room. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about these topics. I'm it. I got to do it all, right? We're going to talk about how that works and how you live and survive and do that. Master of none. I got a type A personality, a really strong type A personality. I have OCD. I want to do it all, right? I don't want to not know something. I want to be the person you go to. That can't happen. That's very, very hard to accept. So we're going to go and talk about that. How to use outside resources. It's just me in an office. Nobody knows who I am. I don't have anybody to ask questions to because nobody else in my environment knows SQL Server. That can be a pretty lonely, burdensome role. So we're going to talk about how you get outside resources to help you through your day. We're going to talk about using those resources as a second set of eyes. I write really crappy code. It looks great, it works, but it would be much better if I could sit in a room with somebody and discuss what we should be doing, right? What's a better way to do it than what I got piecemealed together and running? So we're going to talk about how I can get people to help me with that. Life balance struggles. I'm a single mom. I do it all. I did all of this that I just talked about and still do as a single mom. So it can be done. Okay? We'll talk about how we're able to do that and be happy. The life balance struggle is important. My family matters. I've got to have time to do that. We're going to say I can't do everything. You got to be able to say no. You got to be able to say no, not be the grumpy DBA, and not be the negative Nancy. Right? So we're going to talk about how you do that. Monkey instructions. I want to breathe, so I need to be able to give instructions to somebody else to get them from point A to point B without breaking crap. Okay? So we're going to talk about that and why it's important. Documenting my code. I do so much in a week, I don't know what I did an hour ago Why did I do that? Why is that turned on? We're going to talk about leaving yourself breadcrumbs and why it's important, okay, for your sanity to figure out what the heck you just did. So if you're not doing that, I'm going to tell you how. Avoid customizations. I can do some really cool stuff, right? I can write some code that does some really cool stuff. I can feel great about that, but why? I have no time. Somebody else has already written it. It works. It's out there for me to use. Why do I need to write my own? How do I find those things so I know I don't have to write my own? Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about grabbing some extra arms and attaching them to yourself. You're going to become an octopus. What can you do that has other things working for you to get the amount of work done as one person? Okay, and then we're going to say, nope, see, it's not bad at all. You are in a very unique, great situation, and you might not know it. Okay, and then I'm going to give you homework, and yes, I said I'm giving you homework. And when you guys do your homework, I get so excited and giddy because you did your homework. So we'll talk about that when we get there. Everybody on board? Covering what you think you should have been getting as you came here? Cool. All right. So let's talk about it. Here's my story. I was a lone DBA for 16 years. Straight out of college. Networking is so important. I'm going to start with it right there. I was in a sorority, right? I'm 3 weeks before graduating college. An alumni in the sorority calls me up and says, I know you're graduating with an IT degree. We have a job opening at the Port of Virginia, third largest port on the east in the US. We want you to come and interview. I never had a resume together. I didn't have any experience whatsoever. I had a contact and a networking person who thought about my name and brought me in for this interview. Nailed the interview, got the job. All of a sudden, the Port of Virginia is turned over to me. Zero DBA experience. I didn't even know really what SQL Server was, besides how to write a select statement that I did in class one time. Okay? They were crazy. They were crazy. So what did they do? They sent me to a 2-week boot camp. That was my training. I did the 2-week boot camp. I took the certification in SQL 2005, and then it was off and running. Here you go. Here's the keys. I had 56 SQL Server instances on 40 servers and 2 Oracle. Did I get any training on Oracle? Nope. Okay, but I was running the port by myself. What am I supposed to do? I had no idea. The very first task I had to do was upgrade them from SQL 2000 to 2005. Their production environment. Let me repeat, they had no test environments at all, and I was given the keys. I worked for them for 12 years, okay? I made it work. We're going to talk about that story. For 12 years. After that, I met a friend who's here, Irish. She hit me like a ton of bricks, changed my trajectory of my life, and said, you need to get out and do something else. So I created a resume, and we're going to talk about that resume later, that had every single thing having to do with SQL Server on that one resume. Man, when I put it out there, I got so many hits because it had every keyword, because I had done every single thing SQL Server, right? For the port, it was SSIS, SSAS, SSRS. I was doing the engine, right? So I was really marketable. I had no idea, okay? So I got an offer, got an interview, and I worked for the 3rd largest coffee company in the world. I went to the company and I said, I'm leaving. They said, no, you're not. I said, I'm leaving. And crap hit the fan, right? The CEO came to me and said, you cannot leave. I'm their lone DBA, right? I'm the only one doing this. I had no backup whatsoever. So they said, no, you can't leave. I said, yes, I did. So I left, and guess what happened? They kept me on the payroll as a full-time person for 2 years. I worked for both companies, no lie, for 2 years. They sent somebody to my house every night with a Monica folder of things that they needed addressed that I couldn't do while I was at my other job. They put themselves in a situation because I was the only lone DBA. I was the only one who knew anything, which a company should never do that. I put a pool in my house. It was pretty great, but I lost my life balance. But they needed me, and so I still did it, okay? Now, when I fast forward and I started working for the coffee company, I downgraded a little bit. I had 16 instances, 15 servers, and I still got stuck with Oracle. I tried, but we still got stuck with Oracle. Life balance was a little bit better after those 2 years went away. It was a little bit more complex, but I did it. Okay? Along comes Denny Cherry, and I become a consultant. I never thought I would leave, ever. I became a consultant. And then what happened? I left Massimo Zanetti, and they hired us because I was a lone DBA, and they needed somebody to do the work. Okay? So I want to make sure you guys know you're extremely marketable and valuable, okay? Because they need you. You have the knowledge. Keep that in mind as we talk about this. So my knowledge base, like I said, is everything but the kitchen sink. If it had to do with SQL Server, I had to do it. I didn't know how to do it, but I had to figure out how to do it, okay? So that's my background. I'm with you. I've been there. Master of none. I didn't have any skills whatsoever when I took over the port, okay? How did I get those skills? I self-taught and I invested in myself because I had a job to do and I couldn't rely on the company to send me to training. I couldn't rely on the company to give me the time to train because I'm so busy keeping their production environment open and running that I had to find time myself to make it happen because I had a job to do. So how did I do it? I self-taught. I read blogs. I challenge every single one of you guys to read one blog a day. It takes 5 seconds, right? Skim a blog, learn something new. I went to this thing, swug.org. They had virtual conferences. I paid $300 of my own money once a quarter. I closed my office door. It was a glass door, so they knew I was there, and they still came at me for work. But I watched some things like this, right? Different things that I needed to learn. If I needed to learn Power BI, I watched a quick session on that. If I needed to learn, we went to the SSAS tabular models. I needed to learn that. I actually just watched a video. So there's different ways you can go and actually get the skills that you need. What you need to make sure is that you learn only what you need to get the task done. How many of you guys think you need to be an expert on something or really know something before you dive into it? There are a lot of people out there. You have to go to training to be able to do something, otherwise you don't do it. Can't do that. Loan DBA, I need to learn the minimum. I need to find where the things are in order to get the job done, and I gotta dive in. And it's all about crossing your fingers and hope you don't break something, right? And then maybe later when you get time, you can come back and make it better. But you have so many things on your plate, you have to actually get it in your mind that you can't be a master of anything before you go and jump into it. All right? That's important, and you need to take that away with you. It's all gonna be about the bumps and bruises, and man, do I have a ton. Okay, but the job gets done, and I'm good at my job, and they can rely on me, and I'm not gonna be sitting around waiting to implement something because I didn't get the training. Okay? You need to take it upon yourself. If you're in that environment where you are not doing that, you're creating more burden on your shoulders. Okay? And you don't need to be doing that for yourself. Jump out, do things. You're doing things right already. You're here at PASS. How many of you guys came to PASS because you wanted to, not because your boss told you to? See, you're investing in yourself. You are on the right path because you're gonna walk away this week and you're gonna be invigorated about your job. You're gonna see everybody else who's been in your shoes, all the other DBAs that have to go through your heartaches, all the other DBAs that broke something and are still alive and working, right? That's what these things are for. Make sure you're going to your local user groups. How many of you guys go to your local user group? How many of you guys didn't even know you have a user group in your area? Okay, that is usually one night a month where you get to talk to other geeks, right? You get to talk about SQL Server. You get to talk about whatever problem you just had that they might have a solution to, right? So going to those things is great. It's free. Yes, free, and we feed you. So it's a bonus, right? You should be doing that. SQL Saturdays. How many of you guys go to a SQL Saturday? Again, it's free. You guys hear that word? It's free. And it's about investing in yourself. And it's what? Free, no excuse. It's one Saturday, and they bring in people for free to talk to you, teach you things. Make it a target. If you need to learn about performance tuning, go there. Take every single performance tuning session that's there. It's free. So make sure you're doing that, okay? And remember, you can't be a master of anything. And it's okay. I will never be your guru. I'm not. I'm okay with that. I'm really good at some things, but I'm probably gonna kick you over to somebody else that's the expert because I know them, right? Or I know of them. And we're gonna talk about how I learned where they are and how to find them. Everybody good? All right. So let's talk about this. I'm putting my clicker down because this is the most important slide of the day. See it? Look at it, note it. The power of social media, believe me, it is real. How many of you guys are on Twitter? Great, I would love to see more hands. So Twitter, I found out from a PASS summit, the very first one I went to in 2011. Somebody on a bus as I was coming from the airport to here said you need to get on Twitter because everybody cares about it during PASS summit. It's like, okay, let me create something and see what this is all about. But now when people hire me, they did not hire a lone DBA. They hired thousands. My companies understand that they hired 1,000 DBAs all over the world by just hiring me. Why? Because when I work, I have an army behind me every day, and so do you. Your army is out on Twitter. They are now out on Slack. The SQL community, affectionately known as SQL family, care about you. 100%. I don't know who you are. I don't know what office you're in. I don't know if it's a cubicle. I don't know what you do, but guess what? We have something in common. When you have a problem, I may know where to find that solution, okay? I actually am the only one at the port and when I was at the coffee company that was allowed to have Twitter. To this day, I have a big monitor in my office and the only thing that's on there is Twitter, okay? Why? Those are my coworkers. They are my virtual coworkers. When you go out there on Twitter and you create your setup, maybe nobody knows you, right? How do you get that relationship to have these people know you and get involved? I look at it as my virtual coworkers. So when I go get some coffee in the morning, I go out on Twitter, hey everybody, how's it going? I might put a meme out there. I might say I'm working on blah, blah, blah today or whatever, and that's how I started. Nobody knew me in a cubicle at the port, okay? So I actually went out there and I just established my presence. Good morning, that's all I did. And then I'll get other people, good morning, good morning. Oh, I'm working on this problem today. This is gonna be a rough day. Oh yeah, tell me about it. I just did that last week. Oh, you know what? Here's a blog about it. And all of a sudden I've got these conversations going and people are giving me breadcrumbs. I used to go out and say, and I do this as much as I can now, go out and say good morning every morning. It was like me going to the water cooler or going to get coffee in an office and you guys talk about your kids or what you did in the weekend or why you had to work late last night or whatever. I did it virtually. So much that when I didn't say hi in the morning, people were DMing me and saying, everything okay? Are you all right? I didn't see you this morning, right? Even people I didn't even know. I know you from Twitter, right? I just established these are my coworkers because guess what? When I need them, they're there. Okay? I've got 2 examples for you. Running the port, I actually shut the port down. I don't know how I did it, but it happened. We had all kinds of blocking going, things going on. I didn't know anybody. I went out to Twitter and I said, there's a SQL help hashtag, right? Anytime you got a problem, SQL help. SQL help hashtag. I went out there and said, I don't know much. I've got all these things going on at the port. I know I've got blocking. What do I do? Help me. Anybody know who Glenn Berry is? He's got these amazing DMV scripts for performance tuning. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know these existed, right? So I go to SQL Help. Glenn Berry himself responded to me. He didn't know me. He said, guess what? I have these scripts. You can find them here. Please run them. And on top of that, give me the results. So what did Glenn do? For free. He looked at my problem, he told me exactly what to do, and I had it fixed, and I looked pretty darn smart, right? I didn't do a daggone thing. I had no idea what I was doing, but the community out there helped me, okay? Another thing, you know what? There are DBAs all over the globe, which means what? In every time zone. How many of you guys like SharePoint? Right? Everybody's laughing. Everybody's laughing. So at one of these organizations, right, it's just me, one of these organizations, the SharePoint person decided we're going from 2007 to 2010 on a Friday night, and we are not going to talk to Monica and tell them that this is going to happen. And a caveat to this, we had SSRS in SharePoint integrated mode. So that means all of our reports, data sources, subscriptions are inside SharePoint, right? A backup might have been a good idea. So their strategy was to do a snapshot, and if they ran into problems in their upgrade, they were just going to roll it back, okay? Without talking to me. So I like wine. How many of you guys like wine? Friday night, I had some wine. They called me. They said, the upgrade bombed. We can't roll back. We're stuck. None of the reports are there. It is a production company where they have to have a report by 6 a.m. Otherwise, everything stops, okay? I know a lot about a lot of things. Am I an expert on anything? I just told you I wasn't, okay? So I know this much about SharePoint. What happened? I went to Twitter. I put a screenshot of the errors that we were getting, and I put SQL help, and I said, help me. We have this issue. You know what? Not even 5 seconds after I hit enter, I had 3 responses. Hey, can you run this? Tell me what this looks like. What message do you get after you make this change? And we ran through it, and we were up for some hours, and we rebuilt the entire SharePoint environment by 5 o'clock in the morning, right? Why? Because we're all geeks and we're on the computer all the time. And we're 24/7 everywhere else. So I was able to get SharePoint up and running knowing nothing of what I needed to fix that because of social media. Okay? So go back to your offices. Make sure you're on Twitter at a minimum because your virtual coworkers are out there every day to help you. Many of us are sitting in these rooms right now that sit out there and monitor SQL help. The engineers that write SQL Server, the ones who write the books that you guys care about, the ones who write the blogs, we're out there on Twitter. And we're helping you for what? Everybody say it with me. Free. Right? For free. It costs you nothing, just your time. Okay? So get out there. We're out to help you. Build your name. Like I said, how did I build SQL Espresso? I just said SQL Espresso and I showed up every day. We have a question.
Yeah, do you have any insights or tips how to communicate this to your boss? You said you were the only person who had Twitter running, so some traditional bosses might think, oh, he's spending all the time solving everyone else's problems.
So the question is, how do you communicate to your boss that Twitter is important and having the social media and it's not a waste of time for you? Have them get on Twitter too. Show them the SQL help hashtag. Show them this video and I can convince them. No, so anyhow, show them, right? Proof is in the pudding. Go out there and ask a question. My boss says, hey, we're trying to decide between Tableau and Power BI. Oh, I don't know, I'm gonna need to do some research to that. No, she goes, you know what? Do your little Twitter thing. Right? That's she came into my office. Do your little Twitter thing and ask. So guess what? She got thousands of opinions from people who implemented both and told me what was wrong with each. That's the way to do it. If you have a production issue right now, if you have a question that your boss is interested in doing, do a SQL help and ask. And then the proof is in the pudding, because when you get the responses, you can show, look how much. We could have called a consultant. They could have charged us a lot for this. We could have done a lot of time, but right now, I just did it for free. This needs to be on my eval, and I want some points for this. Okay? Right? So you guys need to be doing that. Any other questions? All right, so let's keep going. So I told you about the blogs. Guess what else we do on Twitter? We leave you breadcrumbs. We say currently reading and give you a blog link. We say new blog and give you a blog link. Guess what? If William is reading that blog, maybe I should read it. Okay? It takes me 5 minutes a day to read a blog, or 2, or 3. If you need to know something about the latest and greatest 2019 features, guess what? Somebody's blogged about it. If you've got an error message, guess what? Somebody's probably blogged about it. How many of you guys have to go to your kids' soccer games or something like that where you're sitting around waiting in a waiting room? You're stuck in traffic, and we all know you're on your phones, right? You're stuck in traffic. You know what? Hit that link that I just gave you a breadcrumb to. Take a minute and read. You just educated yourself on something new. You could have just solved a performance problem by reading a blog, okay? So how many of you guys actually write a blog? A couple. You know the best way to increase your knowledge is to write a blog. Go learn about something and regurgitate it, because somebody else wants to know about that particular thing. So if you ever want to really get involved and increase your knowledge and stuff like that, writing a blog is a perfect way to do it. I give you some blog resources here. These are the ones I want you to follow. Of course, Denny Cherry & Associates. That's where my blog ends up going as well, so that's got to be on there. Who knows what SQL Server Central is? Fantastic. They syndicate so many people's blogs. They send out a newsletter. How many of you guys just delete every newsletter that comes through the system? Okay, next time, just click on the very first link and read what's there. Right? You're getting the newsletter for a reason. Take 1 second. As you're drinking your coffee, we all know you're not working while the first cup of coffee goes in your system. Read the blog. Okay? Take a second to do that. SQL Skills has an amazing blog series out there. If you don't know what SQL Skills is, definitely take a look. SQLblog.com. And then Thomas LaRock has a list of the top bloggers that he recommends. We're all leaving you breadcrumbs on where to find this information. How many of you guys do not read any blogs as a hobby? You know, just on a regular basis, you just go out there when you have to Google crap. Change your mentality. 1 blog a day, that's all I'm asking. 1 blog a day, 2 minutes tops. Don't even have to, you know, dig into it, skim it. You might pick up something, okay? Then we talked about Google. I didn't know anything. I'm a DBA, I'm straight out of college, I didn't know anything, right? So you Google the crap out of everything. Right? How does that information get out there? Those blogs. How do the scripts that we all reuse get out there? Those blogs, people sharing the information. Now, I encourage you guys to go ahead and Google the heck out of it. Knowing how to research and knowing where to find the information is an incredible skill. All right? But guess what? Don't trust it. Read more than 1 blog about it. Don't just copy that code and run it in production. Don't do it. I've seen it. Okay? You should have a test environment. If you say your environment does not have, your work does not have a test environment, you're lying to yourself. Because guess what? Every one of us has a test environment. It's called Developer Edition, and it's on my laptop. okay? I have a test environment. Make sure you're not trusting it blindly and putting it out there. There are some amazing resources out there for you and things for us to reuse. Do your due diligence. Make sure you know what you're talking about before you hit that button and execute that code, okay? All right, so again, SQL Server Central, I'm saying again, if you like forums, DBA Stack Exchange, if you know you can go out there and help somebody solve a problem because you ran into it last week, go ahead and answer some of the questions for us, right? You now become part of our army every day, and you're sharing that information. MS SQL Tips puts really great short tips out there, so if you need 2 seconds to read something real quick, MS SQL Tips has it out there. Yes, another question.
Especially about Stack Exchange, I personally, if I go out there and answer a question, I'm feeling I'm going to look for a question where nobody has answered yet, or if I read the question which already has 20 answers, I feel a little bit of demotivating just putting my 2 cents there.
So he said he goes out on Stack Exchange and gives his input on things. He looks for questions that haven't been answered before, and guess what? He's now part of my army. He just helped you. Next time you have that question out there, somebody else answered it for you, right? Because we took the time to share that information. We are out there working for you every single day, and you can become part of that army as well. It's so important. Thank you for that. It is always valuable to ask a question. Because guess what? You spoke up and I was too scared to. Right? Somebody has the same question you do. Every single one of us work in the same environments. A DBA is a DBA is a DBA. We all work on SQL Server. We're all running into these problems. I guarantee you someone else out there has had that question. But because of you and you spoke up and you answered it, or you proposed that question, now I have an avenue to find an answer. Everybody with me? I see some head shakings. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, the second set of eyes. How the heck did I go from a DBA sitting in a room all by myself where I had nobody to talk to about SQL Server, and now I have some gurus in my pocket that I use every day to answer the hard questions, right? How many of you guys feel completely isolated? You know what you know, but you're not sure if you know what you know is right? Right? You have a really great idea, but guess what? It's a really bad idea, and you just didn't even know it's a bad idea, right? I've been there, I've done that. You know what? Everyone in this room, the person next to you could be the one that's your second set of eyes. That's how I found mine, okay? I strategically network. Because guess what? It's all about me, right? It's all about getting my job done. I got things I need to do. So when I come to things like past summits or SQL Saturday, I talk to those speakers. I talk to the person who was in that room with me that's nodding their head. Oh my God, we got something in common. They've been there, or they spoke up and asked a question in that session, and now I'm going to go and talk to them, and I've developed a relationship with them. So I strategically needed somebody who understood internals. That's over my head. I don't care about that, but sometimes it's important when you have to deal with corruption. Again, I'm allergic to PowerShell. Everybody laughs. I get other people to write my PowerShell, or I use DBA tools, right? So guess what I got? I got a PowerShell guru, right? I don't know storage very well. Hardware is not my thing. Guess what I got? I got a storage guru. How did I do that? I went to the vendors. I started talking to one of those people, right? Now I've got a guru in that. I get their Twitter handles. I start talking, and when I first came to Summit, it was like 2011, but in 2012, I had an idea. I needed some gurus, and I was going to find them. Now I actually communicate with 7 people in Google Hangouts every single day. They are now part of my family. All of us grew together. They are my experts in every single one of these. We've built each other's careers in here. They didn't know me from anybody else in this room, but I sat in that community zone. I skipped some sessions. Yes, I just said skip some sessions. And I sat in those beanbag chairs, and I started talking to these people, right? I got their Twitter handles. I got their card. And when I got their card, I wrote on the back where I met them and what they look like. Because everybody wanted you to just kind of walk away with a stack of cards and not know who the heck gave it to you, right? And it goes in your desk, and you don't do anything with it. So I actually wrote on that, and we touched base, and we all ended up hanging out white night for beers. We went to one of these parties, right? A lot of us are introverts, not me, obviously. Right? A lot of us are introverts, but guess what? When we're all sitting around in a party hanging out, sometimes you get some guts to ask some questions, or you jump into a conversation. That's how I met these people. They didn't know me from anybody else. They didn't know me. I was sitting in the port in a cubicle. I'm just me. Nothing special about me, right? But we started having these conversations, and I used that because I needed help. I'm only one person, and I have to run a daggone port. Okay? So please don't leave Summit without a couple business cards that you wrote who that person is. without following somebody on Twitter. You two are sitting right next to each other. By the end of this thing, you should know who each other is, okay? Something like that. I'm just on you. Good to meet you. All right? That's what you need to do because it's important that you have help because we can't do it all. We're tasked to do it all, but we can't do it all. So definitely get some targeted networking going, right? Get yourself some gurus, some second sets of eyes. I have a friend who is really great at T-SQL. Did I tell you my T-SQL sucks? Right? So now she does my code reviews for me. Okay? She lives in San Francisco. I live in Virginia. But I have that connection where she can take a look and see that my stuff is not very good and help me fix it. All right? Everybody with me on that? Yes?
Could you give a small tip how you find a storage expert because that was a black hole I was running into.
How do you find a storage expert? There are a bunch of people here that do storage. Okay, there's vendors here on storage. You can go ask any one of those. You can sit in one of these classes that have to do with storage. Find out who the speaker is, who you're sitting in that room with, make those connections there. Targeted sessions attendance, right? If you're gonna have sessions, or you've got a question on storage, talk to somebody in that storage session. Okay, that's how you find them. We're out there, find us. So managing company expectations. How the heck are you making it so you're not the grumpy DBA, the no person? Right? How many of you guys are the grumpy DBA? How many of you guys are just really pissed off at your job right now? It is just too much. There's too much going on. I can't do all of this, right? So here it is. Everybody's visual. Pretty pictures make a difference. Words don't tell them anything. They scan right over it, right? So your calendar matters and your whiteboard matters. Put a whiteboard in your office if you're in an office. And what I want you to do is I want you to write every single thing you're working on that whiteboard. Because when they come in your office, they're going to see you are busy because you've got all this stuff going on. So maybe they're not going to ask for something. Or maybe you've got this VP that likes to do drive-bys. They come in and this report has to change because it's so important. I need it right now. Drop what you're doing and do it. Or there's a project and they keep asking you, where are we at on it? Where are we at on it? Where are we at? Anybody got that kind of person? We all do. You know how we make them feel special? We put them number one on our dry erase board. We put a little star next to it. I don't give a crap what that star means, but guess what? They think it's important. Right? Right. It's visual. Therefore, they might leave you alone. They were going to walk in and ask for an update, but never mind. They're going to walk in and offer you a cup of coffee. I'm getting some coffee. You want some? Because you know what? They're important to you, and it shows it. My calendar is never empty. Whether I make up a fake thing and put private on there, my calendar is never empty. Why? Because if somebody finds an empty spot, they're booking a meeting or they're asking a question, right? So visually show how busy you are. Because you can say I'm busy and I'm working on all of this stuff, they're not going to believe you unless they see it. Okay? So do the whiteboard, do the calendar. That's how you manage their expectations. Okay? You don't want them to burn you out. You got to learn to say no. You really want me to do this project? That's fine, I can do it. Look at this list. Where are we putting it? Okay? Who is going to that person that we just said we can't do that anymore and say we can't do it because you just got bumped? It's not going to be me. It's going to be my boss. And you see this? You use your boss as a shield. Your boss becomes the no person, not me. Somebody comes into my office and asks for something? Oh, yeah, I'll look into that. No problem. I'm making them feel important. I heard you. Okay? I'm sending an email to my boss. This thing just came on my plate. You need to prove it. You need to decide what the priority is on this and have them communicate it. It's not me. Because, one second. It's not me. Because the minute I start saying whether you're important, you're not important, or whatever it is, I'm the bad guy. Therefore, I've got more people coming at me, more people going to my boss complaining, Monica is not doing her job, blah, blah, blah. It happens. Okay? So using your boss as a shield, having them say no, having them control your time matters. If you don't have that relationship with that boss, if you have not had that conversation, you need to go back next week and tell them, I can do this job, I can do the 75 things you have on my list, but you now have to be my stopping point. You're the one that's going to make it my decisions on yes or no on doing something. Because right now, everybody hates me. Right? Everybody hates me because I have to tell them no, or they have to wait, or no, I have not touched your stuff. Or no, we had this production issue, I was supposed to work on you today, but I can't. Okay? So use your boss. That's what management is there for. Learn to do it. Okay? Oh, get some tools. We're going to talk about some tools. You're not going to hire another DBA. I'm telling you, we have so much work we need to do. You're not going to hire another DBA? Give me some tools. Because the tools let me do my work faster. We're going to talk about that in a couple minutes. Okay? They're not hiring a person. They're not paying benefits. They're giving you some avenue to make that job faster, and you become proactive instead of reactive on things. All right? Life balance struggles. I'll come back to you just one second. Life balance struggles. Again, it can be done, and I'm going to tell you. I said I'm a single mom. Okay? Wasn't always single mom. I'm a single mom. I run my user group. You saw everything that I did. I've always been on call. Does your day look like this? You're sleeping. First thing you do is grab your phone. You're laying there half asleep. Scroll. What alerts happened? What just broke? What do I need to take care of before that 6 o'clock report run just happened? Right? We all do that. So a lot of times I grabbed my phone. I went to the bathroom, I put my laptop on the sink, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm waiting for SMS to run, I'm checking what job just failed, I'm jumping in the shower real quick, I'm hitting enter for this thing to happen, and I've already put in an hour and a half, 2 hours of work before anybody got to the office. Right? Right? We all do it. I have those weekends where I'm working all daggone weekend. I have those nights where I haven't even gone to bed yet, and I still show up to work. Everybody's been there? Because there's nobody else to be on call with. It's you. Guess what else I did? I worked on production issues while in labor twice. I did not get maternity leave. Yes, I was at home, but I worked every daggone day. Because what? It's just me. Okay? But I absolutely love my job. By the time we're done, you're going to realize I love my job because guess what? That's my baby. I wanted to keep running, and if I wait, it's going to get worse. Right? So you stop what you're doing in between contractions, and you get things rolling. I'm not going to lie. Right? You're always on call. Vacation, what's that? I've never had a vacation where I didn't get my laptop with me, and I had to work. How many of you guys actually drive home from the office and get to the house without an alert happening, without something going on that you might have to address, right? So we're going to talk about how you get around that. But you know what the best thing about this is that my bosses know I work a lot of hours, but I never tell them. This is important. This is what you need to consider, okay? I am never going to be the person that comes into the office and says, daggone, I worked all night on this production issue. I'm so sorry. I can't believe, I was up so late. I'm going to be grumpy today, or I did this and I did that, and woe is me because I had to work. You become a grumpy DBA that seems like they need everybody's sympathy, and it's all about me, and my work is such a burden that I had to go and work all night long. They will never know that verbally, but I will answer those help desk tickets, and they will see that timestamp that says it was 2 a.m. I am not going to wait and write an email about what just happened to my boss in the morning. I'm going to do it 1 o'clock in the morning because that proves to them Monica was working at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay? When I go and ask for flex time, I have been the only person in the company that gets flex time. My daughters dance, and when I say my daughters dance, they really dance. 30 hours a week after school. Okay? Can I be in an office and be able to shuttle my kids 30 hours a week back and forth? No, but guess what? I got to leave work at 3 o'clock every day. I actually took my laptop and worked in the dance studio parking lot. So much that Jimmy John's delivered to me and knew what my car looked like. I'm not gonna lie, right? Because work had to be done. And when I wanted to leave the office at 3 o'clock and everybody else is giving me a dirty look, I got to do it. Because I worked all hours of the day. And I never complained about it. If I wanted to work from home because I had a sick child, nobody can question me. If I wanted to work from home just because I needed to get the heck away from that VP that was bothering me, nobody questioned it. Because what? They were getting the time out of me, regardless if I was at home or I was in my office or we had face-to-face time or whatever. And I was the exception to the rule. And so are you. That is called life balance. It is in your hands. As long as you're not the grumpy one that says, I worked 10 hours last night, can I go home early today? Don't do that. They know you work 10 hours. And when they start to see that, they're going to run into your office and say, hey, I know you've had a long day. Go ahead and go home. It happens. It happens. And it's all about not being the grumpy person. Handling it behind the scenes is called manipulation, people. You need to master that as a soft skill, okay? That's what it's about. That's what you need to do, and that's how you get your life balance struggles away. Everybody with me? All right. So, help. I need help. right? How many of you guys are stubborn and never want to ask for help? Go ahead, raise your hand. I know you exist. How many of you guys work for an environment in which you cannot say the word consultant? Because if you say the word consultant, they're going to steal your job. They're going to prove I don't know anything, and it's not going to look good for me. You need to change your mentality right now. I want to breathe. I don't want to work with the manager of finance because we do not get along. Therefore, when they want a project taken care of, I'm going to call in that consultant, and therefore I don't have to have work on that, and I can work on everything else that I love. Okay? I want to take a vacation. I did this once. It was the best thing that ever happened. That's when I brought Irish in, and I hired her, and she was there for 3 months for me, and she's the one that changed my career. She is here. Anyhow, I said, you know what? I want to take a vacation for an anniversary trip. And they're like, we can't do that. I said, yes, we can. We can backfill me. Let's bring in a consultant for 6 weeks. I'll show them the environment, and then I can go away and leave my laptop at home. It still came with me. But at least I got to go away and do something because I brought a consultant in so I can breathe. Again, there's projects that I love to do, absolutely love to do, but I've done them several times. Maybe I want to bring in a consultant to do that quick little thing. Maybe I want to breathe for a little bit and get a set of hours for 10 hours a month. We're going to use this consultant's time, and they're going to do some things that I know what to do and how to do, or maybe I don't have time to learn something real quick, and we need to get it knocked out of the park. Let's bring in the help. You can't give me a second person, but you can let me breathe pretty quickly. So use that. Ask for that. That is why I'm a consultant today. It took some convincing for Denny to get me to join him because I loved being a loan DBA. I did. But now I'm on the other side of the fence, and I love helping you loan DBAs. Because I've been there, I've done that. I know how hard it is to reach for that phone and ask for help. But you know what? We're out there to help and let you breathe because you matter, not just the company. You matter, and you need to be happy. This is one of the things that you can do that. No, it doesn't prove that you don't know anything. You're working smarter. No, they're not going to take your job because guess what? We don't want it. We don't want your job, and your in-house knowledge makes you so valuable, right? I don't know everything to do with your system. I don't know why you're doing something. You do. Your in-house knowledge is your worth, right? Your consultants are not going to go and take it. Yes, it means you got to give up stuff that you love to do. Yes, it means you got to handhold us. We don't know your environment, so somebody's got to tell us about it. Isn't that annoying? It's really kind of annoying having to talk to that consultant 2 or 3 times a day while you're busy. But guess what? They just saved you a ton of hours and a ton of work. I don't mind talking to you 2 hours out of the day because then I'm free to do the rest of my job. Okay? So keep that in mind, something different. Monkey instructions. How many of you guys have a hit by the bus handbook? No, you need to. Okay, what's important about this? And I'm putting it down as simple as possible. My SharePoint person was my backup. Right? They were my backup. They needed to be able to run certain things when I wasn't available right away. Okay? So I wrote a hit by the bus handbook and really monkey instructions. Number 1, do this. Number 2, do that. Push this little button in the corner. If it fails, do this. If this part fails, stop. Don't do anything unless I say so, right? Give me a call now with pretty pictures. And you know what was most important about having this? Having a printed copy. Yes, I'm not old school, but having a printed copy. Because they could go into my office, grab my hit by the bus handbook, open it up to the section, and write notes. Because I think I know how to do A, B, C, and D, but I really left out A.1. Okay? So they write little notes on there in red pen. Next time that thing happens, they got the mental trigger and the visual. Oh, I remembered I did this a little bit different. Oh, I've done this before? No problem. I don't have to call Monica. Okay? So I was able to do that. But guess what? Now I'm able to be promoted. Why? Because somebody has details on how to do my job. When you keep all that information in your head and you don't share that information, you cannot get that promotion. You cannot leave. You're stuck working for them for 2 years while you're working for another company, right? I am not going to allow Monica to become a manager. She can't, because who's going to fill her job? Nobody knows anything. You just got stuck. Don't do that to yourself. Write it down, okay? Don't build in job security. Have that hit by the bus handbook so you can breathe, so somebody else can do your job when you leave. Somebody else can do your job while you're walking or driving from home to work, or from home to work, or work to get to your kids, or whatever you need, that breathing room, and they can start that job before you're able to pull over to the side. Yes, pull over to the side of the road and work, to make things happen. So please, 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 please do this. Now, there's another way to do it now. It's awesome. There are some sessions about this. The new notebooks in Azure Data Studio, you can actually put your monkey instructions in there with a piece of code, right? And they can actually run everything in there, and it saves their results so you can see what they were looking at later. So it's something definitely to look at. It's not a hard copy, but I probably will still print it out somewhere, just because sometimes it's easier and tell them they have to go and say, I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I can't run this for you. It's in some file. I have no clue what it is. Nope, they can go to my desk, grab the black book, and it's there. Okay? So please do that. Document your code. I told you, I don't know what I did last week. I don't know what I did yesterday or whatever. So I have this document block on the head of all of my store procedures. How many of you guys have this? Okay, there's a couple things I want you guys to see on this because I'm senile and I don't know what I did, right? So not only do I have the name of it, I have that I wrote it, I have a description, very verbose description on what it's doing. I have this little line that says called by. It's called by a report, it's called by an application, it's just an ad hoc thing because I'm leaving myself a breadcrumb of where to look next. Okay? On top of that, how many of you guys use parameters in your store procedures? We all do. How many of you guys, when you run the code or execution, the procedure, that you don't know what those parameters are supposed to look like? Right? So I have this run statement, and that's a run statement of how to run the store procedure with some parameter values in there. So next time I run it, all I do is highlight it at the beginning of this code, I run it, it's there. I don't spend any time trying to figure out how I'm supposed to format my parameters. Okay? So do yourself a favor and add that. Again, you're gonna see your modification information, right? Everybody writes why they did their changes, their change log in there, but guess what I add? In my description, who told me to change it? And why? Because I need to figure out why I made that change. It wasn't just because I wanted to, there was a reason. And then if we have a help desk ticket system, I've got the ticket number in here. So anybody can track that back. I can track it back, not just anybody. I can track it back, okay? So leave yourself breadcrumbs. Doing that alleviates some work for yourself. It gets rid of some frustrations that you might have. If something's broken, you gotta run it real quick, daggone it, how did I do this? Okay? So definitely be doing that. What it does, what it calls, why it was created, what was I thinking at the point in time, okay? All right, avoid customizations. Again, you can write some pretty sexy things. You really can do that, but there's people who did it for you already. Let's reuse it. We got the diagnostic scripts by Glenn Berry. Don't go digging through those DMVs by yourself. He's done it for you. Use it. You just got to know where to find it. How did I figure these things out besides, somebody telling me in a session like this? Twitter, right? How did I know SP Who's Active exists? Twitter. Somebody talked about it on Twitter, right? If you're not using these things, somebody wrote this code for you. Ola Hologren has some amazing scripts for index maintenance. And CheckDB, how many of you guys are using that? More hands should be raised. How many of you guys didn't know they were out there? Now you do. Okay, you should be using them. They are vetted by the community. They are used by all of us. Okay, you just got to know where to find them. Don't write them yourself. Don't bake your own monitoring tools. Somebody else has done it. Okay, again, we're Googling it and we're finding these things out. People are telling us on Twitter where to find these, but guess what we're doing? We're testing it first because it works well in your environment. It really mucked up my environment, and I don't know what the heck just happened. No, so there's different things, and when it does, I'm going off Twitter to SQL help and asking somebody because it probably did it to theirs as well. So anyways, avoid the customizations. Yes, you can write some really sexy code. Yes, it makes you feel really smart. Yes, you feel really accomplished, and you can show your boss what you can do. But guess what? I ain't got time. I got too many things I need to do. I don't need to prove a daggone thing. I just got to keep everything running. Okay? It's important. Yes, you can do it. Should you? Do you have time? Okay? Any questions? You had one.
Yeah, it's just about a good point you just mentioned. For me, myself, I don't have a situation where there are 20 people forming a line and pushing these big things. So I can work pretty much in my ivory tower, but I face the challenge that I'm pretty much about perfectionism. And that often keeps me doing things more effectively or efficiently.
So he's all like me with OCD and a perfectionist and wants to be a master of everything, but he's able to work in his ivory tower and not have people come and bug him and get that stuff done. Guess what? We're all like that, right? A lot of us are like that. We have OCD. We like to actually do the things we want to do. We like to do it the right way and not let go until it's completely correct. What does that get you? A lot more stress, right? It takes a lot of time away that you could be doing on other things. Try to let that go. That's why I have a slide about it. You got to learn to let it go. Don't let it be perfection. Let it be good to where it gets things running. Move on to the next thing. When you get time later, or you have that second set of eyes, or you're bored, or you're really, really, really not wanting to work on something, then go back. Then go back. I want to play and have some fun and see if I can make this better. Go back. But meanwhile, you're getting your job done, you're moving on to the next thing, it works, it's good enough, we're all happy, and it didn't break anything. Change your mindset. Because the minute you actually holding on to that perfectionism, and I let my OCD get to me, and my type A get to me, I start to become frustrated. Don't do that. Don't frustrate yourself. It doesn't matter. What matters is that things are running. It doesn't matter. Okay? So changing the mindset. Be an octopus. People, I got so much to do, I need extra arms. So you're going back to your bosses and you're asking for those tools. You don't want to be sitting there staring at a screen, monitoring the system for blocking, running some queries all the time, trying to figure out what it is. You want something else that's doing it for you. Ask for a monitoring tool. Because that monitoring tool is finding the issues in your system before you know about it. Or you're seeing that graph show you've got an incoming issue going on and you can attack it. Because we're so busy doing so many other things, we need something else working for us. Okay? If you do not have a monitoring tool and you are a lone DBA, you are making your life harder than it should be. Because guess what? They don't have to hire another person. They don't have to pay benefits. They are giving you more information for you to do your job better, and daggone it, that's a benefit to them. Okay? There are lots of tools out there, and there's a ton. I'm just showing you a few that made my life easier over the days. Okay? You've got actual tools when I'll go about them. In a push of a button, it'll do all my index maintenance for me. In a push of a button, it's going to move my logins for me. In a push of a button, it does this. Yes, I can write the code to do it. But I can push a button and get things done a lot faster. Okay? Because it matters that my time is important, and I got a lot of crap to do. Okay? So I've got Didera's got some tools out there, some admin tool sets. SQL Doctor does health checks. How many of you guys have to restore a really large database because you accidentally dropped an object? Because it was you, because you're the only person that touches SQL Server. You can't blame it on somebody else. Right? And you need to get it back. But you can't restore that terabyte of data. Idera has a virtual database where you can attach a BAK file, grab an object out, grab some data out, and you didn't have to wait for the restore. That's a tool that just saved me a ton of time. Okay, I'm not advocating anybody's tools. I'm saying what helped me. All right? Redgate's got monitoring tools. They have the SQL tool belt. I told you my T-SQL sucked. Right? They have SQL Prompt. SQL Prompt takes my code and makes it look pretty and readable to anybody else that I want to get a second set of eyes on. Or I've come to an environment where everybody's code is really sloppy and they just typed in this big chunk and you can't read it. You can run SQL Prompt through it. It makes it clean. I saved a lot of time because now I can find where the issue is. It's a tool. Okay? SentryOne has performance stuff. How many of you guys have job chains? Job chains where I picked up my phone in the morning and this one failed, which means this one has to be rerun and this one goes 2 hours after and it's timed just right because if it runs before, then my reports are going to have 0 values on it. It's all about timing, right? So we're sitting here on a failure at night when you're half asleep or early in the morning. You're starting that next thing. You set a timer for 45 minutes because it usually takes 45 minutes. You wake up, hit the next thing. And then you go back, and then you have your laptop in bed, and your wife or husband are getting mad at you because the screen is glaring as you're waiting for these jobs to finish. We've all been there, right? So there's tools out there that actually have job chains that will allow you to chain jobs for different servers and bring them all together and have contingencies. This one fails, runs this. This one runs longer. The next one doesn't start until it's done. Okay? Those things make you work faster and better, and it brings you back what? Work-life balance, because now I'm not sitting there so tired in the morning waiting for HEP5 or the next job to run. Okay? So again, here's some Idera tools that I told you I use. The admin tool set lets you do a lot of stuff by push of a button. Push of a button does what? Makes me go faster. Makes me get stuff done. Yes, I can write the code and write the alter statements or the create statements and everything like that, or I can push a button. Okay? SentryOne has that job chaining I just talked about. That was a big savior for me. Here is Redgate's. Redgate's has, how many of you guys have to look at 2 store procedures and figure out what the heck you changed? Right? That takes a long time. There are comparison tools out there that will look at 2 store procedures and show you what's the difference between the 2. Okay? That saved you a lot of time. Somebody mucked with some data, you're not sure what the data is, you could compare 2 databases. look at the data between them and find out what changed. Saves me a lot of time. Okay? That's what I'm talking about getting these extra sets of arms. These are things working for you. I can do and push a button, have that go and running while I'm doing something else. Okay? I'm getting that army of one work done, right? By these other tools and having extra arms. Everybody with me? How many of you guys have monitoring tools? Not enough. Not enough when you're like us and we're doing all the work ourselves. Okay? Free up some of your time. Do it. No budget. There are free tools. No excuses. How many of you guys use SentryOne's Plan Explorer? It is execution plans on crack. All right? It gives you details quicker, faster, in grids versus just an execution plan, and bigger, so I can see it. It lets me find problems quicker. It's free. The Pro version is free. And guess what else it has? I have this really complicated execution plan. I really don't know how to fix it. There's a little button in there. It lets you obfuscate your information, your private information, and it sends it up to people at SentryOne and people that are monitoring it, and they look at your execution plan for you. And they tell you what's wrong. And it was a push of a button. And they're experts. And it's part of a free tool. Again, did you hear that word? Free. Doesn't cost you anything but your time. It is free. Okay? How many of you guys are using this? Oh, that makes me sad. We need more. So you got Redgate SQL Search. How many of you guys have developers that come into your office and say, we want to use this field for something new? Can you tell me what this field is being used for now? You know how long it takes to go through all those store procedures and those function calls and everything else? It takes a minute. Because tools like Idera Search or Redgate SQL Search, which is free, can go through your entire environment, look up that field, and kick you back a list that you can export to Excel that says every single store procedure that uses that field. And guess what? All I had to do is run and create the list, and I can kick it back to the developer. They can go through the work to figure out what is being used and what's not. But can you imagine how long that would take a team of people or a few people to go and do that research to finally get back to them and say what they can and cannot do? But for free, there's a tool out there that allows me to do it quicker, get that thing off my list, and make them a happy camper. Okay? So Brent Ozar has a first aid kit. You can run that into your system. And again, who's not using SP Who's Active? Who didn't know what SP Who's Active is? It's SQL Who 2 on crack, right? SP Who's 2. It actually goes and tells you all the transactions running in your system. On top of that, it'll tell you what the blocking is. On top of that, if you run it with the right parameter, you can get the execution plan of every single thing that's running in your system right now. Okay? These are examples of the free tools that are out there that all of us are using that you can use to make your job more efficient, faster, easier, that you didn't have to write anything for. Because we ain't got time. We don't have time. We're busy. So, it's not so bad. I just told you a story which sounds like you are absolutely nuts, Monica. You're doing all of this work. You really worked while you were in the middle of contractions. That does not sound fun. Why do I want to do that? Why? Why? Because one, in-house, in my world at the Port of Virginia, I was the SQL person. Nothing happened to that database. No decisions were made without me. That's pretty daggone powerful, right? SharePoint. My SharePoint person, man, they learned. So anyhow, it's me. So I'm not a guru in anything. But guess what? In my job, I am. Right? I'm not sitting with a team making decisions. I'm not having an argument with you because you want to do something differently. I am making the decisions. Okay? That's pretty daggone powerful. If I want to go to 2019, I'm making that decision. I'm making that recommendation. Who's going to tell me no? Besides if we can't afford it for licensing. But it's my decision. I'm never bored, ever. A lot of people get stuck doing the same stuff. They're the code reviewer. They're doing the backups. They're just doing the same thing, and it becomes monotonous, and it's boring, and they're not able to do upgrades because somebody is telling them they can't, we have whatever reason or whatever, and it just gets boring. How many of you guys are bored? I know there's some out there. You don't have to be when you're the lone DBA because you can set the path. You set the path and you're busy all the time. You are working on so many different things, there's no time to get bored, right? It's a lot. It's awesome. I'm busy all the time. I'm never sitting there doing nothing and hating my job, okay? How many of you guys get to work on new stuff all the time? That's great. Guess what? Probably because you're a lone DBA and you chose to do that. You set the path. That is so much better than a lot of people have on a team. Okay, because Joe Schmo decided we're not doing it, crossed his arms, we're not doing it, her arms. You don't have to deal with that. And guess what? When I want to take a vacation, I'm using that word, kinda a vacation, I can do it because I don't have to worry about it's Christmas time. I got Christmas last year, so now Peter has to get Christmas. Or she's got to go out on something, but I really want that day. I can't because now I'm on call and I can't take that vacation and everything. You know what? You can. You can do what you want when you want to a certain degree because everybody knows I work a lot of hours and I didn't have to tell them. But that's your benefit of being a lone DBA, right? You can do that. It's great. I don't want to have my life and my decisions made by a group, okay, because somebody else chose the day before I did. We don't have to do that. That's pretty darn great. I am the go-to authority. I'm never bored, and I have that flexible schedule. Everybody gives me the dirty looks when I leave at 3 o'clock, or I get to do the things that I want to do. I can go to that field trip for my daughter if I want to, because everybody knows I put in the hours. I may have a 70-hour week one time, because there was a lot of stuff that happened when we had that production issue. The next week, I can say I'm leaving at noon. Maybe I only do a 30-hour week or whatever. Nobody's going to tell me no. Okay? And I didn't have to sit there and verbally let everybody know in every single department that I worked late. And woe is me, and you should be forgiving. And, oh, Monica, yeah, I need these kudos because I worked late or whatever it is. But guess what? I get to go away when I want to. Okay? That's pretty powerful. Nobody else gets that. Nobody else gets that. But me, but you, if you've had those conversations and you listen to the things that I just said, your life can be better than anybody else on a team. Okay? And like I said before, I'm constantly learning new things. I want to implement some kind of encryption. I want to go to always encrypted, or I want to do something. I'm going to go learn about it. You know what? I want to do the latest and greatest stuff in 2019. I get to go learn about it. I'm not stuck and say, no, Monica, you can't go to that training because you're never going to do that. That belongs to this person's job or that person's job. You've heard it. I know you've heard it. You can't go because it has nothing to do with you. This guy's going to be in charge of the migration and go into the cloud, so he needs to learn everything about the cloud. You decide, right? You decide. That's pretty darn powerful, and guess what? You are marketable. You are probably the most marketable person in your company. Did you know that? Do you guys know your worth? Guess what? LinkedIn does, right? All these people looking at you. You are amazing. Seriously, pat yourself on the back because you do more work than any team does, a single person on those teams, accomplish. You know so much about SQL Server, you can do SSRS because you had to stand it up once. You have to write those reports. You can migrate us to the next version. Joe didn't do it, you did. You can do all of these things, and your resume touches every facet and every key word that they're going to look for. They can hire one of you and 4 of them. I would rather have one of you. You can demand the salary that you want. Did you know that? Did you know that? Right now, if you are underpaid, you need to have a conversation because guess what? It's going to take 4 people to do the job I'm doing for you. Go out there and do the market research. Find out how much it costs to have a report writer. Find out how much it costs to have somebody that's an SSAS guru. Find out how much it costs to have 4 senior DBAs. Guess what I'm doing for you, company? I am all of that and more. You're not going and spending $200,000 having 2 people. Give me my 150. No, I'm just coming up with something. But you know what I'm saying? You are all of that, and you are worth it, and you kick butt, right? You really do. And you should walk out of here today knowing that. I know many of you come in here, and you're like, man, I'm tired. I do too much, right? I'm overworked. I saw it in your faces. I know why you're here today. I'm overworked. How do I do this? How do I survive? Right? But you're not looking at what you're gaining. When you flip that switch and figure out you're in control and you're really getting a gift given to you that a lot of people don't have, it changes your perspective. You're going to go back next week and say, yep, I'm pretty badass, right? You can bleep that out if you want. But anyhow, believe me, you're worth it. You're worth the money. You're worth the time. You're worth the energy investing in yourself. Okay? So definitely go back and keep that in mind when you go, okay? It matters. You matter. And now here's your homework. Yes, I'm giving you homework. All of y'all who are not on Twitter, by the end of the day, be on Twitter. I'm not going to lie, because we are out there working for you, with you all the time, and if you are doing it by yourself, you're doing yourself an injustice. Let us be your coworkers. Create a SQL handle. They're called handles. Create a handle, and I'm challenging you to put SQL in it. Maybe you like golf, SQL golfer. I know 2 things about you. You're a nerd, and you like to golf. You know, come up with something. If it's already taken, just make it your name or whatever you want to come with, right? Some people don't like to put SQL in it. I use Twitter just for work. Now, because I know all of these people, it becomes a little more social. But put it out there, because immediately when you have SQL in it, we got something in common. You're one of my people, your family. If you don't find a SQL handle that you can use, put it in your bio. On top of putting in your bio, I'm an SSRS guru. This is a little bit about me in your bio. So now I know, you know something about SSRS? I'm gonna ask you a question, or whatever it is. If you're a lone DBA, put a lone DBA out there. You know what, when you see a question and I click on your profile, oh man, this person needs help. I'm gonna go and help them, okay? Your family, tell us your family. Change your picture to you. Because when we come to these events, people come up to me, I follow you on Twitter. Oh, I recognize your face. Okay, yeah, awesome. We've had conversations and now I got that face-to-face. Everybody following me? And then what you wanna do is you wanna follow me, like I just said. Got that? See how that worked? So anyways, follow me. You got one friend out there already. SQL Espresso, okay? And then I have a list. When you hover over me, you can go to my, get the details on there. It says a list on the bottom. I'll have one that's called Gurus, SQL Gurus. I want you to go onto that list and follow everybody in that list. I left you breadcrumbs, okay? I got some nice, friendly people in there. I got some experts in there. I got some of my friends in there. I got people you should follow. And then after you follow them, look and see who they're following. All of a sudden, you've expanded your spider web of people that can help you, okay? On top of that, this is the important part, you're gonna tweet me. You're gonna say, Monica, I was in your session. And I'm gonna come back and say, welcome to the SQL family. And I guarantee you're gonna get responses from people you didn't even know. Welcome to the family, glad to have you here. Are you enjoying Summit? And all of a sudden, you're in conversations. It's as easy as that, okay? There's a tool called TweetDeck. Write it down. You want to download it. And what it allows you to do, and it's what I have on my screen every day, is it lets you do columns. So you have your main column of your feed of information. You're going to create a column for SQL help, the hashtag SQL help. You're going to leave that up on your desk. And then you're going to leave whoever you end up wanting to follow or whatever conversations you want or whatever hashtags that you want to follow. And there you go. I just gave you the keys to the kingdom, okay? That's how you do it. Yes, sir, you have a question. It's called TweetDeck. It's just Twitter on steroids that allows you to do columns. And that's what I have up on my screen every single day, okay? People can DM you messages and questions, and I have that SQL help. If you just want to be a lurker, right? Follow the SQL help hashtag and just start reading. You're educating yourself. We're going to leave links out, currently reading and giving you a link to a blog. Read it, okay? Jump out there. Don't be afraid. We are family for a reason. We're friendly, right? We're not going to bite your head off. Ask the question. Ask the stupid questions. I ask stupid questions all the time. Put yourself out there because somebody else has that same question, right? Somebody has the same question. So do it. That's your homework. And when you're here at Summit, network, strategically network. Do not walk away from this summit without your second set of eyes. Don't walk away from this summit without at least one guru. I don't care, I can be your guru. Be a guru, right? So you have somebody you can ask questions to because you are not alone, okay? Make friends, walk away. If you get a business card, stop and write what they look like. had glasses, sat in the first row, had a DC/AC jacket on. I know who he is. Okay, because otherwise all these cards that you're getting this week, including mine, is going into a drawer and you're not following up. How do you follow up with those person? Follow them on Twitter. You just made your connection, throw away the business card, you're good. Okay, but you have them on Twitter. Follow them on LinkedIn. Create the LinkedIn thing, right? Drop them a DM message. I met you in this. Remind them, because we meet a lot of people this week. I met you in this session. I had the purple shirt on. I sat to the right, my right. I sat to the right, and I asked this question. Oh, I remember exactly who you are. And we're off and running, okay? So next time you have a question or you want to share something with it, you have that next person. And that relationship develops, and all of a sudden you're in Hangouts with them 8 years later, talking to them and seeing everybody's career grow because we helped each other. I was that lone DBA. Again, I'm nobody special. Nobody special, and now I'm up here at Summit talking to you guys about this, okay? I was that lone DBA, all right? I was you. 16 years ago. More than that, it's about 18 years ago. I'm not going to tell you my age. But I was that person that nobody knew coming to this summit in 2011, sitting in things, not necessarily networking, right? I should have done better that first year. I kicked butt the second year. But the first year, right, I was going back to my hotel or whatever, and I went back to my office, and it was just me again. Nobody knows who Monica Rathbun was. SQL Espresso wasn't that, right? I was you. Now I'm up on the stage. Why? Because I'm not a genius, right? I learned to use the community, okay? I learned to invest in myself. I realized being a lone DBA was a good thing, okay? And that's all I need you to take away from this. Being a lone DBA is a good thing. I was once in your shoes. I know how it is. You are not alone. It can be better. It is better. And daggone it, you guys are phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay, I think we're almost out of time. If not, we're out of time. So my cards are up here. You can reach me at any point in time. Please do your session evals. I do read these, okay? Feel free to hit me up with any questions whatsoever. You know where I am. I'm on Twitter, all right? I'm SQL Espresso on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm your next connection. My blog is on SQL Espresso, and I'm here all week. If you see me sitting in a beanbag chair at the community zone, come say hi. Let's have a chat. I can answer some questions. I just did a performance tuning pre-con. You want to know something? I might be able to help you. Okay? So that's what we need to do. Everybody good? All right, enjoy lunch. Thank you very much for coming.